Everyone told you to build a personal brand. They said it's going to change your business. They said you're going to attract so many clients without even selling. They said it will change your life. And honestly, they are not wrong. Personal branding is a powerful sales tool. Unfortunately, most people face this problem. You are applying all the pieces of advice that they are telling you to build your personal brand. You are publishing content on LinkedIn. You are recording videos for YouTube and Instagram. You present yourself as the expert in your industry, but the problem is that you don't get the results that they promised you. People don't follow you. You feel like you don't have any influence, growth, or impact. And the worst part is that this personal branding thing doesn't sell anything. Well, do you want to know why? Here is the reason. You focus too much on what a personal brand looks like and not enough on its foundations. Followers, the authority, the likes, the engagement. It's not the brand. It's not the authority. It's just the reflection. The real brand and all the work necessary for it is hidden below the surface, like an iceberg. What people admire is the shiny top. Whoa, they have a personal brand. I want one too. It looks so good. I'm going to attract so many clients. But it's just the visible part above the surface. What they ignore is what actually holds it up below the surface. There is a lot of trial and error involved. There is a lot of hard work, a lot of content creation. All the things that are below the surface is what really matters. Personally, I never tried to create, build, and grow a personal brand. I focused, without even knowing it, on what matters, the hidden part of the iceberg. And today, I have over 150,000 followers online. I generated over 50 million views, and indeed, I attract clients with my content. You want to know how I managed to do this? I'm going to explain it in this video. For this, let's have a look at the iceberg with the 4 layers that are below the surface and that you really need to focus on in order to create your personal brand. But remember that the personal brand is just the byproduct, the output of all this work that you're going to do. So the first layer I want to talk about is focus. So focus is a keyword that means a lot of different things. But here what I mean is that you need to focus on one target audience, one expertise, and one offer. Why? Because if you're trying to do too many things at the same time for too many different people, you will dilute your positioning. People will struggle to understand who you are, what messages you use, and ultimately what you are doing for them. So it's really important that you focus on one positioning, and this way you will be able to build on this topic, on this expertise, and create a personal brand that has solid foundations, because you will not hop on every new trend, you will not try too many hacks, you will just have a solid expertise that you can rely on. So that's the first layer of the iceberg, the focus. The second layer of this iceberg is trial and errors that will ultimately become experience. If I learned one thing about content from all the views that I've generated online, it's that people love content and engage with content that brings on the table a unique vision, a unique perspective. Why? Because they want to learn something from you that you've experienced and that you've experimented in the past. They don't want to learn something that they can find anywhere else on Google with AI tools or on any blog article. What they want is to know your unique vision, your unique point of view, and especially what you are saying that is different from others. Because if they wanted to have platitudes or to have generic rules, indeed, they would use Google or Gen AI tools. So keep this in mind. No one will follow you, and you will never have any influence if you repeat the same information that is available everywhere else. And for this, as I said, the foundation, so the second layer of the iceberg, is to have an experience in a specific topic. For example, when I started posting on LinkedIn in 2022, I was focusing on growth marketing, and I was sharing all the experimentation that I was doing in my agency back then. So what I was doing is that I was working for my clients, I was experimenting new tactics such as Google Ads, LinkedIn, or emails. I was analyzing the results, and I was presenting the results on my LinkedIn. So this way, people were not following generic advice or generic rules about growth marketing, they were following my account because they knew everything I was sharing was based on my experience. So you see, this is the main difference. If I didn't do this, I would not have been able to grow my account like it is today with over 135,000 followers. So the first layer was to focus on a positioning. The second layer is to build a real experience to be able to create unique content. Now let's talk about layer number 3, which is to have a deep expertise. As you can see online, everyone is an expert. They say that they are an expert in AI, Web3, blockchain, ads, social selling, anything. But the truth is that they are just repeating the same information that they find anywhere else. So you see here, the layer number 3 is really linked to layer number 2 because you have a deep experience. You are able to analyze this experience and to get a specific expertise that makes you unique. You know, we can call this a signature idea or a big idea. Think about Simon Sinek, for example, who came up with the concept of start with the why. You know, with this specific big idea, he was able to write some books, he was able to go to conferences, write hundreds of social posts, YouTube videos, podcasts, interviews, and so on. Because he has a deep experience in management, he's able to have a deep expertise and a signature concept or big idea. And so he's able to talk about it everywhere, and people associate his name, Simon Sinek, with the concept, start with the why. You have hundreds or even thousands of people who are doing this. For me, I created the authority first framework. So the authority first framework is a way to position yourself as an authority in your industry thanks to content. You can have a look at my course that explains how you can do that in your industry and for your career. So here the goal is simple. First, you need to analyze everything that you are doing in your day-to-day. Second, you need to identify patterns in this day-to-day. A pattern is something that repeats itself over and over. For example, if you are running Google Ads, you will notice some specific patterns about how to generate more results for your clients. And based on this analysis, you will be able to create a big idea or a signature concept that you will be able to reuse in your day-to-day later on, and that you will be able to reuse in your content as well. And remember, it's really about making your positioning different from the competition, different from other creators, and different from other people who are also trying to create their personal brand. Because if your content and ultimately your personal brand is the same as everyone else, ultimately you will not attract any attention because you are just a distant noise in a jungle of other personal brands. Remember, it's all about being unique. And this leads me to the last layer of the iceberg, which is where you will spend most of your time. It's of course content creation. Now, content creation is not only about writing and publishing, you need to be strategic about it. How to do that? First, you need to, of course, know what is your focus, so your positioning, your target audience, and your messaging. So what are you going to talk about? Based on this, you need to create what we call content pillars. I teach exactly how to do that in my course. Content pillars are the key topics and subtopics that you will be talking about in your content. Because if you talk about too many different topics, you will dilute your positioning and people will not be able to know what your personal brand is about. So that's why you need content pillars. You also need to have a strong point of view that is linked to your big idea that I explained just before. You also need to have an enemy. So who are you fighting? And by fighting, of course, I mean how do you use your ideas, your concepts, and your expertise to prevent your target clients, your audience, to have this problem, which is the enemy. Once you have this content strategy in place, you need to publish consistently on the channel of your choice. Personally, I would advise to have 3 different channels, but you can start first from LinkedIn, then you can add a newsletter, and then you can have a YouTube channel. So you have first the LinkedIn content, short, impactful posts. You can publish carousels, infographics, photos of yourself, but also videos. Here it's all about sharing your opinion, explaining your expertise with how-tos and case studies. Then you have the newsletter with long-form content. Make sure to reuse your LinkedIn posts to create your newsletter newsletter so you win time and you reuse the best ideas from LinkedIn to create your long-form newsletter. In the newsletter, it's all about connecting more deeply with your audience by sharing in-depth information and helping them on a long-term basis. So when you have your newsletter, you then need to add YouTube videos with shorts and long videos. Here you will be able to develop your big idea, your concepts, and keep in mind that you also need to have content pillars for your YouTube channel, so you make sure to have a strong positioning on YouTube. So content creation is really a dense topic. Make sure to follow my channel because I share a lot of tips about how to create content, and you can also have a look at my course where I explain exactly how to create content. Now what's going to happen is that because you publish content consistently on one or multiple channels, people will start noticing you, you will attract their attention. And because you are talking about the same topic over and over, they will listen to you more for this specific topic. Here, again, make sure that you don't dilute your positioning and your personal brand. You need to stick to your content pillars. And thanks to this last layer, which is below the surface of the personal brand iceberg, you will be able to get followers, get engagement, so likes and comments, and ultimately you will be able to build influence. And this will be above the surface. It's what will be visible from other people. And when you will arrive at this point with a lot of followers, a lot of influence, you will remember that everything that matters was what is below the surface, but you will also enjoy the benefits of what is above the surface. Indeed, because now you have more followers, people trust you more because you are perceived as an expert. Because you have more engagement, you have more impressions, and because you have more impressions, you have more visits on your profiles and on your landing pages or websites. So ultimately, you make more sales. And also because of the followers and the engagement, you get more opportunities. Indeed, you get invited to podcasts, you get invited to speak at events, and overall, people want to connect with you in order to be in your network so they can benefit from your expertise. So when you start to have these benefits, you will see it's the snowball effect. One opportunities will lead to 10 other opportunities, which will lead to 100 opportunities. And this is the snowball effect. It goes faster and faster. So remember that this is the end goal of your personal brand, to be an authority in your industry. But remember as well that you need to focus on the 4 layers that are below the surface in order to achieve this tip of the iceberg, which is the end result that everyone is seeing. If you like this video, make sure to like it and subscribe to my channel because I share a lot of tips on content creation, personal branding, and LinkedIn content. By the way, you can join my 5-week LinkedIn content creation bootcamp where you will learn how to create the right content on LinkedIn to grow your impressions, your profile views. Second, it will help you to build and grow your personal brand with the right foundation and with the right content. And third, of course, it will help you to increase your revenue for your business because you are perceived as an authority in your industry. So click the link in the description to get more information about the bootcamp, and you can book a call in order to know more about the bootcamp. I will see you in the next video.